Yeah. Shabba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Y'all ready? Let's go. Hey, yeah. I'm gonna beat him up, yeah. Boy, I'm gonna whip your ass. Well. I guess that's your new nigga. I saw him under all of your pictures, and it ain't even really my business. I'ma still talk shit for a minute. When did ugly become your type? Damn. I'm not bitter, but I'm sure not blind. But I ain't even gonna waste no more time. I'ma tell you like this. I hope he can't fight. I'm pulling up tonight. Catch a charge, I might. But it will be alright. But it will be on sight. Yes, I will. I am for real. I'm gonna whip your ass. I hope he can't fight. My friends tell me I should just let it go. I hear what they saying and I know. But after what you put me through, I'ma take it out on your new dude. I probably should let you be. Let you go down great in peace. But after what you did to me, come on. I'm gonna pull up on you. And if I catch a charge, baby, it'll be on sight. Yes, I will. I am for real. I'm gonna whip your ass. I hope he can't fight.
Y'all ready for this? Let's keep it real with Rahim, Brazil. Let's keep it real with Rahim, Brazil.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Keep It Real with Rahim Brazil. I'm your host, Rahim Brazil, of course, and I have the pleasure of sitting with such a dynamic artist who I believe is such a superstar. He has an amazing voice. You just saw him perform right here on Keep It Real. Welcome to the show, Mr. Array.
Wow.
What's going on? Yes.
What's up? Thank you. That was quite an introduction. Thank
Well,
you.
you know,
Thank
I really do believe that you're a superstar. You know, I have seen you in different spaces, and every time I see you, I'm just like, wow. Recently, you was just on Bobby, I Love You, Per.
Yes.
And that was such a different way of seeing you.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you?
Well, you know, outside of being a creative, I'm very private. You know.
Yeah.
My friends who know me know that I'm a quiet person. I'm an introvert. So it was out of my element. But
Yeah.
as you know, in the creative spaces, as you continue to get older, you're going to do things that you normally would not do. Push
Yeah.
yourself to expand that reach when it comes down to your base. So
Yeah.
I had to do what I had to do. Came up a little short.
Came up what you mean by a little short?
Oh, I didn't find love. You know, he didn't choose me, but
He didn't choose you?
I still got love for Bobby. I saw him last night.
You saw him last night? Oh, what did y'all do?
No, he. No, you know.
Did y'all
it's
go on a
MLK
date?
No. You know, it's MLK weekend, so
Yeah.
he's in town, and I saw him at a spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So your song, I Hope He Can Fight.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite songs from you.
What?
Like, yeah, that
Thank
is one of my.
you.
So I was glad when you were performing that. I'm like,
you.
okay, cool. Tell me the background story to that song. Oh, just give us a little bit about the background story to that song.
Okay, so I didn't really write this one from experience.
Okay.
But you know how you have a relationship with somebody, you break up with somebody. And,
Yeah.
I still have a playful relationship with my ex.
Yeah.
You know, just on some like who you talking to now? You know,
Right,
I
right.
hope that nigga could fight. You know what I'm saying? So I think I kind of took that and went extreme.
Yeah.
You know, so the song is pretty much about the angry ex who, to get back at the ex for the things that the ex did while they were together, I'm gonna beat your new boyfriend up.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, just I wanted to make something funny and still like relatable.
I love that. But we have some new music coming out, right?
Oh, I just dropped something.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it that you dropped recently?
It's a new single. I think it's my 4th studio single now. It's called My Sign. I dropped it 3 weeks ago.
I seen that. Now, is this going to be a full body of work? Cause you good for dropping a single now, child. But I need to see, like, are you going to drop a full EP or a full album? Like, what are your plans for your musical journey in 2023?
You know what? I have never said this anywhere else before now, but my resolution for 2023 is to start work on a project. So I have decided to work on an EP, and it's going to be called A1.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
it's
that.
exclusive.
So we're working with different producers, or you work? Do you normally like working with the same person, or you? What do you?
No,
do?
I switch it up. I'm a
switch it
vibe
up?
person, so
Okay.
I need to hear. And it's not just a certain sound I go for. So I kind of survey a lot of producers and a lot of work. And if I'm drawn to it, then I try to create from that place.
Yeah. What was life like growing up, in Louisiana? In Louisiana, for you as being a child of great talent, what was that like for you? Were you always singing in church? What was your experience like?
I didn't grow up singing in church, but I'm from a really small town. I know I always had big dreams. I knew I was different. I knew I was prolific.
Yeah.
But the small town that I'm from, it didn't have many resources. Louisiana as a whole doesn't have many resources or tools for creatives in the entertainment industry. So I ended up outgrowing my environment. So that's why I moved to Atlanta to come and get it. So I felt very limited growing up in Louisiana, wanting to be like an entertainer.
Are you proud of that? Like, are you proud of the journey, of the transitioning from Louisiana to Atlanta, being that you have done all these? Are you proud of taking that initial step?
Definitely, because it kind of shows you it doesn't matter what your background is or where you're from. You know, if God placed it in your heart and it's your gift. If you use it correctly, then you can become anything. You know, I think the biggest thing Louisiana has as far as the entertainment is what Britney Spears maybe. So I like being from a place that is not known for musical talent on that scale and kind of making a name for myself. So it feels good.
I love it.
Yes.
Y'all better make sure y'all check out Signs by Mr. Array, who just released this a wonderful single. I was hoping that you would sing that too. You're gonna have to come back and sing that.
I would love to do that.
You would love
You
to
can
come
have
back
me
and
back
sing
anytime.
that
Yes,
one.
I
Yes,
would love to do
we're gonna come back. Maybe not, within a few episodes, maybe next season or so. Because you're gonna have a full body of work. I'm gonna speak that into existence.
Yes.
But at least listen. What does keep it real mean to you?
Keeping it real, you know what? Just being your authentic self in situations where that might challenge you, and just kind of staying loyal to your own integrity, and not kind of shape-shifting based on your environment or the pressures of other people.
Yeah.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. Y'all heard it right here on Keep It Real with Rahim Brazil. Listen, we definitely have such a dynamic show on today. I have some amazing guest speakers on today. For this episode, we're going to get a little spicy, but also what we love to do here is use our testimonies, our personal journeys, in order to help you elevate your human experience. So, with that being said, Array,
Yes.
I'd like to thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you.
And y'all stay tuned for this commercial break.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. My side. Just met this Aries. Babe, let's get married. I know it's too early for an answer. What were you
Because I believe people that work for sex, they probably ain't even think about sex. They probably don't even want to have it when, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the people that really wrestle with sex to where as though it's become a part of their norm, their normal way of like everyday life, like, and they can't control it. Yeah.
But I had to kind of get a hold on that to try to figure out why. And that's why I went to therapy. I still ain't
Which is another
fully
great point.
got it down,
Yeah.
but it helped me to understand what I was kind of looking for and what I felt like I was missing and why sex was the replacement for what I felt like I didn't have.
Welcome back to Keep It Real with Rahim Brazil. I want to welcome you back to the show. We just had an amazing performance by my guy, Mr. Noirr. So if you haven't already tuned into it, y'all make sure y'all go back and watch it. But before you do that, since you are on this YouTube channel, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel right here on Rahim Brazil Network. But for the next portion of this episode, we want to talk about sex dependency. So I've invited two amazing guests here to talk about everything sex, I guess. So my first guest, her name is Faye Noirr, and she is a content creator. And so I want to welcome Miss Faye. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank
Doing
you for
very
having
well.
me. Absolutely.
Well, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Yes,
made
I
sure to
love.
put in some effort. You
Yes,
know?
and you got the
You know?
blonde hair.
Yes.
You know, I just had the blonde hair, but I just got rid of it. You know.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh, and I was like, it's okay.
Like,
You know,
who is
you can-
that? Like, he looked totally different.
Right.
But listen, we're gonna jump into some of your background a little bit later, but
Okay.
I want to talk about a few things centered around sex. So for my next guest, who have I invited, he is a content creator as well, but he does many things. He's more than just content creator. He's a brand strategist. He does a lot of public relation stuff in the media. He's a media guru. He's a friend. He's my nana. He's everything. Everybody help me welcome Mr. Q, Quintessential Branding.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you. Thank you for that introduction.
Yes, you know I had to, give you all of that. First and foremost, I've invited you to the show because we have had our personal conversations. You know how y'all get with your friends and you talk about just everything. I feel like Q is that person that I can just talk about everything, no matter how crazy or different or like, I didn't know you did that. So I wanted to welcome y'all to Biting the Forbidden Fruit. So when I named this episode, I was thinking about Adam and Eve in the garden. And I was really thinking about how everything kind of sort of started with in a sexual type of way. And I myself had been dealing with over the course of my life and my journey, I've been dealing with sex dependency. And when I say sex dependency, not in the sense that I'm like a sex addict, but in the sense that I like a lot of sex.
Yeah.
I do. And
At all.
Growing up in like the church, I've always felt bad for liking a lot of sex. And it wasn't until recently I've gotten to the point of self-acceptance that I started to really dive into my whole self-acceptance and my sex lifestyle, and just understanding that it is a part of life. And so I want to bring you two on to talk about your personal experiences, talk about your personal journeys when it comes to sex. I know you're a content creator.
Yes.
Yes. And so what I wanted to do is for you all to kind of like give your personal experiences when it comes to the introduction of sex. So what would your introduction of sex be like?
Ladies first?
Okay.
I knew he was going to say ladies first.
Right. So you mean in general or?
Yeah, that first time that you knew sex was a thing.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was very Christian. I come from a very Christian environment. I went to all private school, Christian private school.
Yeah.
So it was definitely shunned and definitely like taboo, and we're not talking about it, we're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
But then there was a time where I went into my dad's computer room, and I was just like, I was being a kid. I was looking around, and then I ended up coming across his adult book. And that was my introduction. I was young. I was like 7. That was my very first
Wow.
time even seeing what that was. And then that's when they had to have a whole sit down with me. Like, okay, so this is what, since you done synced it, like, we might as well just
Yeah.
give you a whole rundown.
Yeah.
And so that's my first introduction in general. But I would say my first time actually enjoying relations was maybe like once I became like 22 or something,
Yeah.
you know. So, yeah. So, I mean, I definitely came from an environment where it was kind of shunned, very suppressed. So it's very interesting now that, you know, being in the adult entertainment industry, you know,
Yeah.
it's completely like opposite. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like super down for a whole lot of things. So
Yeah.
yeah. for
Yeah, I
sure.
definitely would agree. Q, what was it like for you when you know?
So, unlike Faye, mine was like the complete opposite. So I was exposed early and I started early. My parents, grandparents, I found tapes and magazines in my grandmother's house. In my uncle's room, you know, he had moved out and, you know, left some of his stuff. And, you know, I was in there, you know, just being nosy because
Yeah.
that's what I did as a child.
Yeah.
I found some magazines. I said, oh, okay,
Yeah.
let me see what's
I
going
remember
on.
magazines.
Found some videos, popped them things in a
Not
VCR,
popular in VCRs.
and saw, you know, something that I had not seen before.
Yeah.
Right.
So at that time, I was watching porn at like the tender age of like 8 or 9 years old.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's so
Yeah.
young.
Yeah.
It is. I don't
It
know
is.
why I've been interested for a very
Okay,
long
so
time, though.
that is my
Well, I'm
question
so glad
though.
I'm not the only one, because at first I was like going like embarrassed, like,
You-
oh my
you
god,
were
I
saying,
was
like,
7. I was
you were
You
7?
were exposed
Yeah,
early, but
I
you
was.
started having relations like
Well,
grown, like, later.
No. I had my actual relations early as well, but I didn't enjoy it until I was an adult. So
I enjoyed it the first time. I was
Yes.
12. I remember, like,
You remember it vividly.
picture it.
Yeah.
yeah.
The summer of 1999.
It was.
No, it was like.
No, don't be telling your age.
I don't care. I
Yeah,
am-
that's normal actually.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually quite normal for a lot of people that, you know,
Yeah.
you have the average age is like 16 to 20 when
Yeah.
people do lose their virginity. But there are a
Yeah.
lot of us who, like, you were 12, I was 11. So,
Yeah.
and I was just with some, and luckily it wasn't, because, you know, a lot of times they say it's like coercion stuff. No, it was literally another, you know, boy, and we went to the same elementary school.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was another kid. You know what I mean?
But
Yeah,
see,
mine too.
Yeah.
my experience was a little different because the way I was introduced to sex was not the way that I would have wanted to be introduced to sex, because
Yeah.
I was taken advantage of. And so being molested at an early age, I can't really say I lost my virginity. Like somebody, like, it was taken more so. It wasn't like, oh, I met a person, or it was me and another child, or it was more so different for me. And for me, I felt like that kind of triggered me into feeling like, I don't know, I would start to depend on it in a sense. Because I believe, like, at an early age, when you start to get exposed to sex, it changes your mental mindset on life. And like, I didn't have anybody to kind of like sit down and talk to me and say, hey, this is sex, this is what it is. I was always in life going through the motions of just basically figuring it out on my own. You know what I mean? And so let's talk about sexual abuse. Do you feel like sexual abuse leads to self-neglect?
I think so. Because in certain cases, I also was molested as well prior to even seeing the book. I was 5. So I think that luckily I don't know. I guess because I was young, I guess I didn't really fully process everything. But I'm just imagining people who get assaulted when they're like 17 or something, where you're fully aware.
When you're fully aware,
You're
right?
fully aware. So it's like then it becomes a sense of disgust, self-disgust, not wanting to do certain things. So I could see where the neglect comes in because they're like, I don't even want to even look at anything. Don't want to touch nothing. I just, because the brain is like, we have this memory tied to relations that's not positive, you know what I mean? So I could see where the neglect aspect can come into play for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that as well. Like, I don't have like experience with like abuse or molestation or anything like that, but I've had quite a few friends over the years that have experienced it.
Yeah.
So from like some of the conversations we've had, I've noticed or was told pretty much with that situation that may have happened to them, it made them feel less than. It made them question themselves.
Most definitely.
Because they weren't given the option of a yes or a no. So it made them question things moving forward. It made them have trust issues. You know, some people turn to drugs or drinking or things like that to kind of cope with that one instance that changed their lives forever. So I would absolutely say that it would lead to self-neglect.
But I mean, for me, it led to me feeling self-worth less. Like I felt like for a great deal, and I'm just like coming into like awareness about this only within the past 2 years. Like I've been in a space of where I was always looking for love and looking for some type of person to like be there for me in a way that I felt for a long time as a child that I would let people take advantage of me, even like in relationships, like being in the space of like sex and just like allowing people just to kind of like, put me in sexual situations, and I wouldn't fight it or anything because I'm always looking for that acceptance piece. Like if I use this piece, maybe they'll like me more. And I felt like a great deal of my life has been that because of what I've been through when it comes to sexual abuse or sexual like just not understanding myself as a sexual being, you know what I mean? And so I always think about those things when it comes to like how I think about sex now, opposed to when I was growing up. Because when I was growing up, I found myself just being promiscuous, honestly. Like I was just, because I felt like anybody that was giving me attention, you
felt validated through sex.
Yeah, I felt like I was getting some type of validation or acceptance. Like I felt like because of what I went through at that moment, I was getting some type of acceptance from that person if I used my body to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it's have you ever lost yourself to sex?
Yes.
In what way?
Oh, well, I was having a lot of it. That's what was on my mind a lot of times, much like what you were saying as far as the validation factor. I went through a phase in life where I was very depressed. I felt self-worthless as well because of, some things that were going on. You compare yourself to other people. Circumstances may happen. You experience things that make you feel less than what you should feel. Yeah. And for me, the way that I felt like I was worth something was having sex, because I'm like, well, damn, if I don't feel like I'm good at this or I don't feel like I'm good at that, let me go ahead and feel good about something I know I'm good at. So I felt validated, and it's crazy to say it like that, but I felt validated through those many sexual encounters. So I was promiscuous too in my 20s.
You was getting it.
Oh, buddy.
I'm telling you. Faye, as a content creator, you have obviously become comfortable with your sexuality. How did you reach that point of becoming comfortable with your sexuality?
That's a good question. How did I reach that point? Oh, okay. So I would say this. I got tired of first feeling ashamed, and then I also got tired of having sex in ways that I didn't like, and I hated that. And so I was like, instead of doing things I don't enjoy and feeling ashamed about it, let me just go complete 180 and just I'm going to start doing things I actually like and I enjoy, and it's going to be pleasurable for me. And that in turn made me feel way more confident. You know what I mean? And so that's basically, to answer your question, it was just basically, that was the main reason, was like, I'm sick and tired of having sex and this shit is whack. Oh, stuff is whack. So, sorry.
Okay, you know, reset it.
Okay. So I was like, I'm over it. So that's basically how I became way more confident, and I'm like not ashamed at all, because I know for a fact I'm being pleased 100% of the time. So
I love that.
Yes.
Do you think, Q, that sexual promiscuity is a stereotype of gay men?
It's a stereotype, but it's also the truth when it comes to a lot of people. Everybody's experience is different as to what made them who they are and how they got to where they are. But I think a lot of gay men lead with sex because, you know, they feel that's where their worth lies, in their bodies a lot of times. So
That's so crazy. I just wish that we can all get past the point of needing people in ways that it does not feed our souls. You know, and because like whether it's sex, whether it's money, whether it's whatever, like we lose such a good chunk of ourselves and who we are, and the validation of the world becomes so enticing and intriguing, and you just want, like, if you don't get it in this space, you're going to look for it in another space, and it's just it gets overwhelming. And so we're going to take a quick break though, and then we're going to come back. And we're going to continue this conversation a little bit more, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what you got going on in your world. Okay.
Sounds great.
So we definitely want y'all to stay tuned right here for Keep It Real with Rahim Brazil, coming right up. Welcome back to the show. Listen, we are talking about sex on the show today, you know. But my guests today are giving me some tips on what to do about sex dependency. And so joining me on the show today is my homeboy Q Jackson of the Quintessential Branding, and Miss Faye Noirr. She's a content creator, and we're going to jump in a little bit into their situations after we finish talking about this sex. Hi.
Hey,
welcome back to the
what's
show.
up?
Hi. No, so before we left, we was, you know, sharing stories of our sexual journeys or whatever. And I just kind of like want to pick up where we left off and talk about compulsive sexual behavior. Ooh, yeah.
That's like a
sound
therapist
familiar?
term.
Yes. Compulsive sexual behavior is pretty much having sex too much, I would say. Or what do you think it is?
I don't think there's such thing as too much.
You don't think it's
no.
Okay, so that's why we disagree.
I think so.
Okay.
Because like you know, a lot of couples say, you know, what's the normal amount of relations they want per week? Some people want 2-3 times a day. And like if that's just one person, how is that, you know, that's normal if it's just one partner, right? But I guess if there's different people, does it matter then? Or like when you say sex too much, are you basing it on the amount of people, or are you saying
I'm talking about the behavior. So you know how you like, I believe anything in life is acceptable, but I believe you can overdo it.
Okay.
And so like the behavior, like having sex is great, fine, and wonderful. I believe it becomes an issue when you constantly think about it, when the only thing like in your life is centered around like sex. So you're watching porn all throughout the day, or you're having sex with multiple people. You kind of like thrive or live off of it, just as if you would do like drinking or smoking or anything. I believe sex can be like one of those things where it's just like, okay, you're overly doing it to where as though you're kind of abusing it.
Now it's becoming unhealthy.
Now it's
Yeah.
becoming unhealthy, like an
Yeah.
unhealthy trait of sex, and that can kind of turn people off too in the bedroom.
What's the term again?
Compulsive.
So pretty much it's an addiction
Yeah.
to sex.
Okay.
And I absolutely think that is a thing. Just like somebody who goes and smokes crack for the first time. There's a high that they get that first time that they keep searching for in every single, sorry.
It's the high the
I'm sorry I chose crack, but
Right.
yes, I'm like, I'm sorry.
Did you just?
But they're searching for that very first high in each smoke session that they have, I guess.
Yeah.
But when it comes to sex, like there's a certain pleasure that you get from sex. Like you said, there's a certain validation.
Yeah.
So you're getting pleasured mentally. You might be getting pleasured physically. And so you're looking for that again in multiple situations. So if you got to find a different person, if you have to,
Because that's what I wanted to say. That's why I asked for the clarification. Doesn't matter how many people you're with.
Now, if we together, ain't that
There's no
much.
such thing as
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, well, it depends. I
Because
guess
if you only
it depends.
have-
Because if it's your job, some people's
Well,
job
yeah.
is actually sex.
Well, yeah, all the people who work for the big companies. Yeah, they're literally like maybe
Like-
1 to 2 people a day.
Yeah.
Or
But
scene.
this is what I wonder. Like people that have sex as for work.
Yeah.
Like just because you have sex for work, I don't believe you might have compulsive sexual behaviors to where as though you're always just thinking about it.
No.
Because I believe
Yeah.
people that work for sex, they probably ain't even think about sex. They probably don't even want to have it when, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the people that really wrestle with sex to where as though it's become a part of their normal way of like everyday life, like, and they can't control it. Like, so they do
Right.
things like have sex at work or like it just unethical ways of
Yeah.
having sex. I think that's what it kind of means.
Okay. That's
Have y'all
understandable.
ever had unethical ways of having sex?
Yes.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
yeah, I mean, so
Yeah,
you know,
this is
you've
says, yeah,
downloaded
she's-
apps before, you've met people. Okay. So there was a phase, a very promiscuous phase in my life that I did mention earlier. I didn't only entertain one person. I was entertaining multiple people.
Yeah.
You know, in weeks and, you know, sometimes even like days.
Yeah.
But I had to kind of get a hold on that to try to figure out why. And that's why I went to therapy. I still ain't
Which is another
fully
great point.
got it down,
Yeah.
but it helped me to understand what I was kind of looking for and what I felt like I was missing and why sex was the replacement for what I felt like I didn't have.
What did you learn out of that experience though, being in therapy? Because like out of that session, like about your sexual self.
What I mentioned earlier, I felt like comparing yourself to other people is a very bad thing to do, and a lot of people suffer with that. So for me, like I said earlier, I was in a very like depressive state because of, you know, that was one of the things that I had to deal with. And I felt like sex was something that I would be good with regardless as to if I felt bad about myself or not. So doing that, I felt like, all right, what if I, you know, put this A-list performance on, you know, then this person's going to continue to, you know, want me, and it's going to be you know, so I felt like if I did what I did, that it would make people want me.
Yeah.
You know, so
I've been in that same space, but I've been in a space of like just trying to figure out in the moments of me trying to figure out myself during those sexual moments and that highly active sexual phase. I've come to realize that I didn't know what I was looking for. I really didn't know what I was looking for. I don't know if it was acceptance or if it was just the fact that I just wanted to feel wanted. You know what I mean? And so it caused me every time. I remember one time I would have sex, or I would watch too much porn or anything. I would always feel bad, like guilt would rush over me, like an amazing and overwhelming guilt. Like what? And I would feel disgusted with myself, like, ugh, what is wrong with you? In a sense, because I felt like I was just doing it, but it was no real I was doing it out of being on autopilot, not doing it because I was choosing as an adult that this is like, now I understand what I'm doing. But back then I was more so doing it just because it had developed into its own thing for me. And so whether it was porn, whether it was meeting up with people, hooking up, random hookups. I've done that too.
Yeah, I've done random hookups.
You know, random hookups and, you know, little late night strangers, because y'all remember the little chat lines. You know what I mean? I'm telling my age. That was back in the day. You know, I was looking for something, but I don't even know what I was looking for at that moment. Yeah. Let's talk about STDs, STIs in protection. So, we work at a facility that do testing and screening. So shout out to Aid Atlanta. They are not sponsoring this video, by the way, but we'll work on that.
They sponsored these paychecks.
Okay,
to keep these lights on.
Okay.
But no, the great thing about the work that we do is we get to help people in that area when it comes to being more self-conscious, being more self-aware, and also just make sure that you're being responsible as an adult when it comes to understanding what it is about protection and why it's so useful and important for you in your life. And so I've only been working there for a few short months, and I have learned so much about people. Because like when you get in the room with people in a space where it's more private and you're talking about sex or whatever, you learn a lot. And you also learn that we're more connected than what we think we are. Like the stuff that you might be wrestling with, there are so many people out there wrestling with the same thing. So you really shouldn't feel judged, or you really feel no guilt or anything. We can just bounce off of that education and teach one another about that thing, which is why we created Keep It Real, because at the end of the day, we can talk about this to our friends, but there's still something that we hide. You get what I'm saying? It's still that piece that we don't tell everything. We'll tell a little bit of something. But we're going to hint it a little bit, but we're not going to tell everything. So let's talk about the STDs and STIs and why is that so important, especially in your field where you have multiple partners and everything. What do you do to protect yourself being in that field and in that space?
So luckily, because I'm not in the actual industry, I don't have like an agent or anything like that. I'm not obligated to work with a certain amount of people per week. So the method I like to do is I'll have the scenes and then I'll wait 7 to 14 days. You know, get tested, wait 7 to 14 days, and then I'll do another scene. Now everybody doesn't do that. So there's still that element of surprise, an element of getting caught up. And in the industry, they call it getting popped. They call it getting popped.
I didn't even know it was a whole thing. Getting popped?
Yes. So that's when you hear somebody
So you don't want to get popped?
You don't want to get popped. No, you want to try to avoid getting popped. But, you know, if people keep their things up to date, then there's a lower chance, but it's not zero, because if you get checked on Monday and it doesn't come back till Friday, but you had relations on Wednesday, you still have a window. You know what I mean? So it's not 100% safe. And the only way we could avoid getting popped altogether is just not do anything. You know?
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
you can still get crabs with a condom on.
People still get that.
Oh, do people still get crabs?
I ain't
I'm
heard
pretty
about
sure
crabs
it's
since
still.
the 90s.
I don't know. I don't know
Ugh.
if it's non-existent. I'm pretty sure people can still get crabs.
Now y'all talking about gonorrhea and chlamydia and all that. I don't want no crabs because that just sound
It
awful.
sounds yeah, terrible.
No.
And then now they have a new strain of gonorrhea and chlamydia that's not coming back. So it's coming back. It's negative via urine, but it'll come back positive via swab.
Swab.
Yeah.
And that's why we do both.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we do both. Well, and which is why it's important to get tested.
Yes,
All
come
the
see
time.
us.
And they come
All
see
the
us. Q, let's talk about because we see this every day. Why is it so important for people to, before they have another sexual encounter with a new partner? I see a lot of some people do come in and be like, I have a new sexual partner, I want to make sure I'm good. Why is that so important? Because I think when I see partners come in together, I was just like, I love that. But also when I see people come in like, I'm about to get into a situation, I need to make sure I'm good. Why is that so important?
Because first of all, it's important to be in tune with your health.
Yes.
A lot of times people kind of, take advantage of feeling like they're healthy, but your body could be going through stuff on the inside that you don't even know.
You don't know.
And it's also the responsible thing to do for yourself, but also for somebody who you plan on trying to build something with, who would want to start a relationship or a situation, with a lie, or, the first time y'all actually get together. I done gave you gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis. And, you're not going to trust me or want me after that.
Yeah.
So it's best to be responsible for yourself, for them, and, practice safe sexual habits. I see a lot of people that come in, though, as a part of, like, their first date. And, like, I had never seen that before because, like, growing up, most of our parents probably didn't talk about sex like that to us. But to see that people are taking it seriously, people are bringing their kids to get tested. I've seen somebody as young as 13 a couple weeks ago come in and get tested. But I'm seeing a lot of couples that are incorporating testing into like their first date. When they feel like they're about to get serious, let's go ahead and get tested together. And I think that allows the lines of communication within your relationship to, remain a little more open. If you're more transparent with stuff like that.
And that is very important as well, because I definitely had a scenario like that with my previous partner where I would ask him directly, what's your updated test results? Oh, I haven't got tested in a while because, I use condoms all the time. I'm like, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get tested. You know what I mean? Exactly. So that's why I was like, this is going to be a problem because you are still having relations with people. You are still getting oral. And, a lot of male-born humans like to say, oh, it's just head. They don't need to put a condom on to give me head. Like, yes, they do. Because you can still
out
get
here with
some.
dirty
You can still
throat.
right.
Yes, you can still catch something. So, a lot of people think you can't, but it's like, no, you can. So it's definitely important. I think I'll do that moving forward with my next partner partners. Like, we both need to go together. I think that's awesome. I think it's a great idea. So.
Let's talk about really quickly what you have coming up.
Yes.
And what you're working on.
So I just completed a scene with this black-owned adult content company. It's called Black Touch, and we did a scene with me and two guys. That's coming up soon, and then I also just did something with Naked Trumpeter, which he went semi-viral online. Where I did something where I was still like femdom and like whipping, and so it was very fun. It was very fun. So and then I know he's pansexual, so I do want to do a scene with him and maybe another guy or three or two or something. So we'll kind of see how things go moving forward.
Like group fun.
Yeah.
Q, what's coming up for you?
So as of 2023, I officially launched my media platform. So BLK Talk is official. The website's out. So yes, I'll be putting together some great interviews. The BLK Lunch and Learn panel
Can't wait for that.
is coming back. I actually am planning my first to be like a content creators type panel, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
I am partnering with a few organizations to do a couple of events in other cities this year.
Yeah.
So this year is about me and really truly giving myself what I deprived myself of in the past.
That's
Based
good.
off of what
Based
other
off
people
other
felt
people
I
felt
deserved.
you deserved.
So now
Yeah.
it's like, y'all, this is all about me.
That is
I
so
love that.
important. And listen, y'all make sure you give yourself exactly what you deserve, because it's so important and it's valid that you speak life into yourself.
Yes.
So with that being said, I want to welcome my guests for joining us on the show. Thank you so much, Q. Thank you so much, Faye. And listen, we need y'all to tune in to Keep It Real with Rahim Brazil, coming to the Rahim Brazil Network. So y'all have a great one. It's been a lovely show. Stay.
I wanted to write about it because I'm a therapist. Therapist not supposed to be depressed. Therapist not
Right.
supposed to be suicidal.
Yeah.
Therapist not supposed to be in
Yeah,
your
y'all supposed to
goals.
have it all together.
Yeah, but that's foolishness.
Why do people think negatively about themselves, and how does that add to that low self-esteem behavior in their life?
One thing my therapist, because I believe everybody should have a therapist. So
Yes.
one thing my therapist helped me with is I'm extremely hard on myself. I grew up kind of single mom. My dad, even though we have a great relationship now, he was absent most of my childhood. So I ended up being a people pleaser because of the emotional neglect that I had, right? And I could show up for everybody else. I could be super supportive for everybody else, but I wasn't giving that to myself. So my therapist said, you need to become your own best friend.
Yeah.
How would you speak to somebody going through a negative experience? Would you bash them, or would you